If you're here, you're probably juggling about 17 different things right now and wondering how everyone else seems to have it all figured out. Well, let me tell you, they don't. And neither do I, honestly. This show is for my creatives, my parents, my entrepreneurs, and goal setters who are tired of living overwhelmed and ready to build a life that actually feels good. We're going to talk about mental health, healing, and all the messy but beautiful things that comes with intentional living. No toxic positivity over here, just real talk and practical tools. So, today we're talking about adjusting your plate. We'll be addressing what's currently on your plate, adjusting what needs to change, and applying a whole new approach to how you manage your life's responsibilities. So, grab your cold brew or your crispy pancakes and welcome to Adjusting. Welcome to Adjusting, a safe space for candid conversations about mental health and well being with your host, Justin G. Nelson. Whether you're recovering from trauma, redefining your purpose, managing mental health, or simply craving more authenticity, this show is for you. I hope something resonates with you and helps you on your own personal journey. So sit back, relax, and let's start adjusting. And we are back with episode 10 of Adjusting Podcast. Y'all, I don't know how long this season is going to be, but the way these episodes are just coming to me through lived experience or conversation or just inspiration from other podcasts and things I see on TikTok, I'm just going to keep recording. As long as my phone works, as long as I got space on my computer, you're finna keep getting episodes, okay? But I'm looking to bring on guests as soon as we hit July, once we get to like that 1 year anniversary mark. So this season may be like 22 episodes. I don't know. It depends on how many guests I get. And if you want to be a guest, there is a link down below to fill out the form, and I will get back with you and set up some time to chat. But before we get to all of that, thank you again for supporting this podcast. Thank you to TJ with TJ Podcast for editing. Make sure you support him and wish him a happy birthday. His birthday is this week. And also, is it this week? Is it next week? It's in June, so wishing him a happy birthday. Great. Also, if you would like to follow and support my other platforms and brands, you can do so by following my vegan lifestyle brand, which is Earthy and Cultured. You can follow my branding and marketing company, Type J Marketing, or you can support me as a creative and a performer by following my personal page at Justin G. Nelson. I'm giving you a denim on denim look today because we are talking about a topic that is fun. If the way I've structured this episode, at least, is very fun, and I want to think like outdoorsy because it's summertime. My birthday's coming up, and just like a picnic or all you can eat mental health buffet if you want. So let us talk about adjusting your plate. Before I'm jumping ahead, we got to breathe. Okay. Before we get to the food, let's pray and center ourselves with our breathing. Okay. So relax your weight. If you're driving, focus on the road. Okay, Final Destination just come out, and I don't need no Final Destination episodes popping up in my podcast. Not today. But if you are driving, focus on the road. If you're at home or you have a moment in the office or on your walk to just center yourself and ground yourself in this sacred breath, I welcome you to do so. So relax your ankles, relax your shins and your calf muscles, your knees. Rub your hand across your thigh and just warm that up a little bit. Relax your stomach, your heart, your shoulders. I got some shoulder tension going on. Relax your neck, your chin, your cheeks, your eyebrows, your forehead. Relax your ears and take a deep breath in on the count of three. 1, 2, 3, and let it out. 1, 2, 3. One more time. Breathe in. 1, 2, close your eyes. 3, and let it out. 1, 2, 3. Also, something I forgot to mention, if you are on Substack or TikTok, I have launched those two platforms to help build some awareness and attention to the podcast, build some traffic, if you will. So you can follow my Substack channel. It is under my name, Justin G. Nelson, but the link is below. You can follow the podcast TikTok page, which is at Adjusting Pod, because somebody else has Adjusting Podcast. I don't know who you are, but you need to delete it because I want it. Okay, great. All right, so this episode is adjusting your plate. And it's just talking about how sometimes we as creatives, as parents, people in relationships, professionals, spiritual people, we experience burnout because we don't know how to compartmentalize what is on our plate. We tend to suffer from people pleasing. I talk about that a lot in episodes. We deal with things from our inner child, and there's a lot of trauma associated with just putting so much on your plate because you don't want to necessarily deal with life in general. So you try to be busy instead of dealing with the grief or whatever you are hiding from. You pile on work. And there was someone that also talked about like older generations, how they worked and worked and worked, and part of it was survival, but the other aspect of it was they didn't want to sit down and deal with the reality of what was going on today. So we're going to unpack that. We're going to talk about the plate, the mental health plate, if you will. So I got my nutrition certification in 2017, 2018. I don't use it. It was one of those hyperfixations when I first went vegan, and I was like, I want to learn everything about nutrition so that when people question me about things, I'm able to come back and be just like, well, according to science, or according to the health department, this is this. Like, I'm that type of person. I want to have facts and data to back things up. So yeah, I may renew it at some point once I get the podcast in a good place, so we can switch back over to earthy and cultured and do some vegan nutrition stuff. But anyway, with nutrition, there comes the aspect of macronutrients. So with the physical health and your fitness goals, people always say, what are your macros? Like, what is your protein intake? What is your fat intake? And what is your carbohydrate intake? For vegans, we tend to err more towards protein and carbs. Carbs are like notorious for getting a bad reputation. Like, too many carbs, you get fat. Well, you need energy. And then with fats, it's just like, well, all this, you eat avocados and too many beans. And hey, everybody's body is different. Okay. But you do need to know macronutrients if you're trying to gain weight, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to maintain a certain weight. But when it comes to the macronutrients of your mental health, okay, here are three ways I would break it up. You have career and work, you have relationships or friendships, and then you have self-care. Okay. So with career and work, this is like the carbs. You need it for the energy, you need it for the income, for the stability. But in hindsight, it takes up like 90% of your life and your plate, and you're going to crash out. Like, you, from creatives, like, I took on 5 clients at one time. I didn't have time to really build my own brands because I had to make sure their brands and the deliverables that I had to do for them were up to par so that I could get paid and pay my rent and pay for the various platforms that I use to do the things I do. And then you have relationships. Think of this as the protein. It builds you up and keeps you satisfied, but the quality matters more than the quantity. So, not saying you need multiple partners, but as far as friendships, like, you get to a point where too many friends or too many circles or too many cliques, you get exhausted and you get of age. I think I'm getting close to that age where I'm just like, the quality of my friendships matter more than the quantity, because some people come with their own drama and they want to dump the trauma. Going back to episode, what was it, 5, 4, about your adjusting your energy, baby. It ain't worth it. And then self-care. This is the last part of the mental health macronutrient plate. Is these are your healthy fats. This is what helps your body actually absorb everything else you're consuming. So when you're setting the boundaries or you are choosing to take time to recharge, like that's the self-care. Those are those healthy fats that really get the energy and the blood flowing in your life. But while so many people focus on macronutrients, there are also micronutrients. Now, these are like your vitamins and additional supplements you take. So, like, you may be deficient in vitamin D. You know, Black people, we are deficient in vitamin D because we go outside. We love being outside, but baby, we get dog. And outside is hot sometimes, okay? But you have like vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin B12, iron, magnesium, potassium, fish oil, cod liver oil, those things. Those are your micronutrients. While your body and some foods you eat are sufficient in those, some of us need more. Okay, vegans, we need a little more B12. Okay, so I have a vegan friendly B12 supplement I take. If you suffer with sinuses, you may need a K2D something supplement to really help with your immune system. But when it comes to hobbies and your when it comes to your micronutrients, these are things like hobbies, learning additional things, rest, community social, and spiritual nutrients. Like those are the other things that really help build the macronutrients. You get in the picture I'm painting? Okay, so let's talk about it. So, micronutrients are the small but vital things. Your hobbies and your creativity. So, these are your vitamins. You might not notice when they're missing until you're deficient and everything feels dull. Okay, so there's a book that a lot of people read called The Artist's Way, and it really helps you connect to your creativity, really unlock some things, and allow you to take yourself on artist dates. So when I tried to do, yeah, I have tried to do the book 3 times and I have failed every time because those morning pages, like, I think I might have a slight ADHD. I can't sit and write 3 pages of stuff. I can barely do 1 page of morning affirmations. You talk about 3 pages of a brain dump. Can I type it instead? I don't think that's legal. But you find that once you're out in a space doing something creative, going to see a show, going to a concert, everyone's raved about the Beyonce Cowboy Carter concert. Like, even that gives someone a boost of creativity and just like, yes. Even reading a book sometimes is a hobby for me, and I don't want to turn into an income stream, although I do want to write a book for this podcast. That sometimes allows me to get lost in the characters and really gives me a sense of free will, if you will. Like, if they did it, I can do it without harm. And then there's the aspect of learning and growth as a micronutrient, and these are like the minerals. These are the things that keep you up to date with. It's like a check-in, like a physical check-in for your body, and you get these minerals from like a certification you've done, or a workshop, or a master class, or attending a conference and things like that. Like, they keep you wired and attuned to what's going on. Say, for instance, I went to the Canva conference in April, and then they had a Canva follow up. So that kept me energetic and vibrant about the state of Canva and making sure I was up to date with the things. Because AI, I love it. I love it. I use it a lot, but it is scary. It is really scary, but we'll talk about that in another episode. And then there are macronutrients like rest and downtime. D&D, do not disturb. Okay, resting is probably one of the most vital mental health micronutrients that we don't do enough of, because so much of it is followed by shame and guilt. Like, I'm not working hard enough. I should be doing this. No, you should be resting. Yeah, you should be resting. These are the enzymes that help you actually digest and process all of the other stuff you're taking in. That's the only way you can heal. Mm. When you ignore the rest step or the rest phase or the rest micronutrients on your plate, you disrupt the healing process that is trying to take place with the other things you're taking in. Wow. I love that. Make sure you take some time to rest, okay? And then with community and social, these are your antioxidants. They literally prevent the damage from all the other stress and overwhelm. It gives you a sense of escape to just be. I will say this, when you are in a safe space or people where you can let your hair down, don't feel like you have to code switch, don't feel like you have to put on or be on, these are your people. This is a space where you are able to just thrive. Okay. And we need those community and social antioxidants. And then the spiritual and purpose micronutrients. Those are the trace elements that seem tiny, but give meaning to everything on your plate. It's like the purpose micronutrient. It gives you a sense of why and the how and the what. Like those things that we're always asking as spiritual people. You might not be spiritual, but if you are spiritual, it's that why am I doing this? Or why am I here? Or what is my purpose? My therapist asked me that, I think year 2 of my sessions. They said, what do you feel your purpose is in life? Me. Why are we talking about such deep topics? Like who authorized this? This was not in my childhood trauma plan, but since we're talking about it, I feel my purpose is to inspire people, to help people find their purpose. And here we are with the podcast. Great. And then I want to point out my gifted people. I am really embracing this aspect of being gifted. If you are a multi-hyphenate or a multi-passionate person, your micronutrients may be more varied than others. That's totally normal. You might need creative minerals and learning minerals and community antioxidants all in 1 week. Maybe not just in 1 day, but we need a little more rest as well. Okay. And maybe our spiritual components, we need those daily. So that comes with like prayer. And if you're reading your Bible or some type of daily devotional, like those are aspects to consider. Oh, but baby, when it comes to stuffing the plate and you think it's a really cute, balanced, healthy mental health plate, and then the junk food come, we're going to talk about it. The overcrowded plate syndrome. Now, this is where capitalism comes in, and we live in a culture that says, load up that plate. Again, I say, grind till you own it. Like we're at a golden corral and someone's judging us if we don't go back for thirds. Like you can do things one thing at a time. You can eat one plate at a time, you know? And then there's the concept of success cultures as it like distorts the portions that we take in. Instagram has us thinking a full plate equals a full life. But when did being busy become a badge of honor? Like I don't recall learning anything in K through 12, undergrad or graduate school about how busy you are, meaning how successful you are. You're just busy. You have poor time management skills. You who are suffering from perfectionism or the desire to be validated in spaces that don't even notice you. The multi-gifted trap. For those of us with multiple talents, we get this extra pressure to excel at all things at all times. Society sees our gifts and thinks we should be using every single one of them every single day. You don't. Okay, and this is something I had to teach myself and through therapy learn again. Like T.D. Jakes wrote in his book, I forgot which book it was. I think it's Purpose. Destiny. I had to look back at my bookshelf. I read this in like 2015, and he talks about how he has multiple streams of income. I consider him a multi-hyphenate. My definition of multi-hyphenate changed. Okay, it is not what commercial people are saying it is. Like, I think I explained this in one episode, but the aspect of being talented or skilled at multiple things in one industry. So for theater or film, for example, someone who is a director, but also an actor, a producer, a screenwriter, um, knows how to work the camera, like they would be considered a multi hyphenate. I took it a step further. I am someone who is skilled at multiple things in multiple industries, but they all work together. With TD Jakes, he was at the time the pastor of the Potter's House. He also had some music coming out. My mom used to sing one of his songs back in the day. I still had the CD. We still sing the song, the Let's Just Praise the Lord. He has books. He was doing TV and or a movie. Like he had multiple projects happening at one time. But what he said that really changed my trajectory on how I look at my life as a multi hyphenate is that you don't have to work on everything every day. And for a while I fought it because I was just like, no, like if I don't put energy into the podcast and earthy and cultured and type J marketing, then no one would know what I'm doing. And it's just a waste of time. No, let me tell you what's a waste of time. Trying to do all three things at once is a waste of time because you will expend so much energy into all those places to where everything just looks like you threw it together for the sake of posting. That is probably why you haven't seen anything on Earth and Culture in a while, because I've been investing my time in the podcast and Type J marketing because that is how I make most of my money. But back to the overcrowded plate syndrome, the hidden calories. Now, these are the invisible energy drainers, the mental load of remembering everyone's schedule, the emotional labor of managing family dynamics, plus the guilt of having interests you're not currently pursuing. And then people pleasing as some type of portion control. When we let others be the chef of our lives, deciding what we should have on our plates. And for my multi-gifted, multi-hyphenate people, everyone's got an opinion about which of our talents we should focus on. Are you investing in this or are you just critiquing it? Because I ain't asked for your investments, your opinions are not going to pay my bills. They are not going to help me succeed, okay? If you were helping, then maybe I didn't have to work on multiple things all the time, just, give a hand, not an opinion. Now, here are some signs that your plate may need adjusting. There is a come to Jesus moment where you just say, you know what, there is too much on my plate. I do need to delegate some things or just offload some things. So put some things on a napkin right here, right beside it, and say, I'm going to come back to it later. Get a little saucer. Energy crashes. When you like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and you're just like, I'm done. I'm tapped out. I need a nap. You do not need another coffee. It's like I don't want to do anything else. So energy crash is a sign you need to adjust your plate. And then the second thing is nutrient deficiencies. If you cannot think of the last time you did something that really made you happy or joy, you need to get back to that. You need to get back to your why and your purpose and things that make you happy. Your digestive issues. Your brain literally can't process all the things you're trying to juggle. It's like eating too fast and getting indigestion. Like there needs to be more rest, more. Let me see. If you added more water to your mental health plate or your glass, like something to rinse it all down. That water scenario, this is off the top of my head, so stay with me. Drinking more water and adding the hydration is like adding fuel to the energy so that it is able to flow throughout your body and not get stuck in one place. Yeah, great. So think of that. Think of the hydration you're taking in. You have to have something to wash the food down. You have to have something to wash the thoughts and the energy and the stagnant feelings down so that it circulates. You got that for free. All right, so we're moving on to section 2. adjusting the plate. This is the plate audit process. So take inventory of everything on your plate. If you are creative, are you creating the content, posting the content, scheduling the content, researching the content, engaging with your audience? If you are a parent, are you cooking the dinner? Are you picking the kids up? Are you finding summer programs? Are you having to help with projects? Help with, like, are you and your partner actually doing the things together? And then grab a piece of paper. You can pause this if you want to. Write down every single thing you're responsible for, from work projects to remembering to call your mom. I call my mom every morning and every night, so I got that taken care of. Now let's play nutritionist and categorize these things into macros and micronutrients. What's giving you energy versus what is taking up space? You can pause the episode here. Great. Now, number 2, identify your non-negotiables. Here's where we get real about what actually matters to you versus what society says should matter. Your essential macronutrients are going to look different from mine or anyone else because we are probably in 2 different headspaces when it comes to our goals and mental health journey, and that's fine. And that's exactly how it should be. Maybe your career isn't your main focus. Maybe your finances are your main focus. Maybe your health, maybe a relationship or finding that ideal partner. Maybe it's healing or parenting better or rebuilding life after a divorce. Which micronutrients make you most feel like yourself? For me, it's my walks when I walk from the train to my apartment, or when I'm researching for the podcast, or therapy, or singing. Those are my things. Now let's spot the junk food. I talked about it with the other section as it relates to the overcrowded plate syndrome. You know, those commitments that seem like a good idea at the time. And I'm a fan of canceling. Okay, when my energy is not aligned, I'm a cancel. The ones that drain your energy but don't really nourish anything meaningful, or like the empty calories, scrolling social media for validation, saying yes to events you don't want to do, staying in relationships that constantly take up time and make you feel worthless and like you don't have a purpose and you feel like shit. Okay, those are like the mental health junk foods. Process responsibilities are the shoulds. Things you do because someone else thinks you should, not because they align with your values. People, again, love to give their junk food centered opinions with things they only know so much about. Like you're on the outside looking in, but until you've walked a mile in my shoes, just leave it over there. Stay on your side of the grass. And what about emotional eating? That's when you take on other people's problems to avoid dealing with your own stuff. And I call people out on this, and I do it in a good way. I say, hey, that's not your shit to deal with. That is not your issue. Okay, I feel like you're avoiding something. What can we do to get you back to your stuff? How can you mind your business to make your business more happy, you know? And then the last thing, for my multi-gifted people, sometimes the junk food is trying to do all of your interests poorly instead of rotating them with intention. Spreading yourself so thin that nothing feels satisfying. I was talking to myself. Sorry, you all heard that internal thought. But yeah, that was from me. Now, the 3 steps for the adjusting method as we move into the application part. So step 1 is to remove. Okay. So like if you are writing or talking to a nutritionist and they ask you to document your eating for 3 days, they want to know what you ate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, any snacks, any junk food, what you drank, what you didn't drink, those things. We need to take all of that in account with what you did in the last section. And we're going to start removing things. This is the hardest part because we've been taught that quitting is failing, but sometimes quitting is graduating. Quitting is allowing yourself space to actually move forward. I know that sounds weird, but The plate cleanse isn't about becoming a minimalist or some type of hermit. It's about making room for what actually matters. A lot of us get to this plate removal cleansing phase in our 30s. That's when we really wake the hell up and just like, you know what? I'm not doing enough, or I'm not doing enough that I want to do. I'm still living in my my grandparents' dreams or my mom and dad's dreams. Like, what about my dreams? Practice this phrase. That sounds wonderful, but I can't give it my attention right now. You know, that sounds good, but I don't have the capacity for that right now. Capacity, your plate is full. For my fellow parents, your kids need to see you setting boundaries. You're teaching them it's okay to protect their energy too. And my mom is the queen of setting boundaries. If she don't want to be bothered or if she don't want to go anywhere, she will say, I'm not going. And I respect that. I respect that because the people there are either miserable or going to talk about you when you get there and talk about you when you leave. Entrepreneurs, this is for us, okay? Delegation isn't admitting defeat, it's strategic resource management. I delegate a lot more than I will talk about in this podcast because y'all don't need to know my business, but I do delegate and I am proud of it. So we talked about removing. Now let's talk about replacing, okay? So now we're talking about replacing. Think about it like this. You need to replace something on your plate with what you want to do, because when people around you see you with the empty plate and you don't have anything to do, they try to start to put stuff on your plate to make their things a priority. But if you got those boundaries set in line when it comes to your macronutrients and like your daily mental health intake, you say, actually, I'm scaling back on what's on my plate. This is about upgrading, not eliminating. Swap out that draining 9 o'clock meeting or that coffee date for a walk with a friend, or, let's just have one meeting a week. Something that can energize you. Quality over quantity applies to everything. One deep friendship beats 10 surface level, energy draining acquaintances who only want to trauma dump and talk about their shit. But the minute you say, hey, I got a question, they say, hey, I'm not available. I ain't gonna say block them, but just, I don't burn bridges. This is my thing. I don't burn bridges with people. I just get to a point where I have to visit them less frequently. Yeah. I just feel like, you serve the purpose. I don't got to go play in your park. I can stay over here and say, hey, from a distance. We do not have to cross paths, okay? And I'm fine with that. Find your optimal portion sizes by paying attention to your energy levels. The daily caloric intake is about 1,500 to 2,000 calories. Sometimes we need less, sometimes you need more, and that's how you have to look at your energy levels. When do you feel most alive and when do you feel most drained? The third part of this is the rebalancing section. So we talked about removing, we've talked about replating, now we're talking about rebalancing. The 80-20 rule saves a lot of lives. It's 80% of your plate should be nourishing. 20 of it can be, neutral, a little draining. That's a part of life. It's a part of life, Everyone has their ups and downs. It's in the Bible. No one's life was just hunky dory. Even Jesus died on the cross, for crying out loud. But, sometimes you need a little reality TV. You need somebody else's drama to be like, you know what? My life isn't that bad. I'm not saying you should make that your identity, but it's fun. A little laugh never hurt anybody. Your plate is going to look different based off the season. We talked about that last episode when it comes to like your winter seasons and your spring season, your summer and fall seasons. Like, it will change. Your diet will change. Same reason you grow different vegetables in different seasons, your mental health will change in various seasons based off what you need in that season. Busy work season might mean less social time, and that's okay. And your friends and your community should understand that. For my multi-gifted friends, this is where seasonal focus becomes your best friend. I tend to look at my life sometimes. Well, my brother does this, but like Q1, Q2, that's like quarter one, quarter two. So January to March, April to June, July to September, October to December. Like, as quarters and like, what do I want to accomplish in these quarters? There's another book called The 12-Week Year. I haven't mastered that concept yet, but I do want to try it. So I may try it in July. But it's just the aspect of breaking down your year, your 12-month year into 12 weeks to see if you can accomplish more. The goal isn't perfect balance every single day, it's sustainable balance over time. Think rotation, not elimination. You can shelve some things and come back to it, but the beauty is your shelf and you can organize it how you want to. Hmm. That hobby you're not focusing on right now is not gone forever. Okay, so don't go looking for a new hobby, but know that you can come back to that hobby. It's just waiting for its right season. And just be sure to check in with yourself. Does this plate support who I'm becoming or who I used to be? Are you eating from an adult plate or are you still using your little kitty plate? Are you making room for a bigger plate? That's a thing too. Like these are things to consider with your mental health journey and your mental health meal plan. So, moving to section 3, we're now going to apply our new recipe. Oh, yay. So we have our macronutrients, we have our micronutrients. We talked about the junk food, we talked about other things, but now we're going to embrace this new plate that we have after you've done your work. Great. So let's talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough. What happens when you are multi-gifted and have like 17 different things that light you up? First, I want to say this. Let us normalize being passionate about multiple things. Okay? It doesn't harm you. It means you are human and it means you are creative. Perfect. The myth of you find your one passion is by far one of the, I think that's rooted in capitalism. And this is me going on a rant. For the longest, people told me, focus on music, make that your thing. I do. But there are seasons where auditions make me truly depressed. I've seen people who were passionate about performance literally say, I have had enough of this. So the aspect and the concept of sticking to one niche, that's not my meal plan. That's not for me. And that's fine. It may be for you. And if it is for you, congratulations. I applaud you and I pray that it works in your favor. Yeah, but I think this find your one passion is very toxic for multi-passionate people. Your brain literally works differently. Like I am able to like in this episode, I have connected my love for nutrition with mental health and performance. Ta-da! Kiki Palmer is a great example of someone who can just make everything work together. Here's the thing though, just because you can juggle multiple passions doesn't mean you should be juggling them all at the same time. Okay, you can throw one up, get 2 in rotation, 3, 4 or 5, you're doing too much. You can set some boundaries, okay? Put some things down, let them rest, let them recharge while you work on something else. So with the applying your new recipe, there's the art of seasonal focus. And this is for again my multi-gifted people in this seasonal focus. Instead of trying to give something attention every single day, what about giving it a season to thrive? I think I mentioned earlier about how we eat certain fruits and vegetables in certain seasons. That's because that's when they're like really good for you and like it's high in nutrients and it tastes really sweet or really high in fiber, really high in what we need. Think about your businesses like that. A lot of people with like Pinterest, they find that in seasons when there are like holidays or back to school and things like that, that's when they want to invest more into their Pinterest accounts because they know that's when people are going to use it more. Maybe this quarter is your writing season. Next season is your photography season. And then the holidays is your crafting season. Or maybe Monday, for me, Monday is my a brain dump day where I just get everything out of my head. Tuesday is my content creation day. Wednesday is my schedule it all. Thursday is review. Friday is a rest. Like, how are you structuring your day for these things? The relief that comes from giving yourself permission to not do everything at all times, baby. Now that is golden. That is like what how can I compare that? That is like waking up to a fresh cup of cold brew coffee and a nice stack of crispy pancakes. Mm. At the perfect temperature with a little butter, vegan butter, on top and the maple syrup. And some good crispy bacon. That's what that feels like when you have things aligned. Yes. You're not abandoning your other gifts. You're honoring them by giving them focused attention that they need when they need it. Boom. Now, let's get back to this for like my non multi gifted people. For creatives, your creative soul knows this struggle. You want to write and paint and start a podcast and learn pottery and start vlogging and work out more and do all these things. Here's your permission slip. Rotate your creativity focus seasonally and keep small snacks available daily. So maybe you're writing down notes, you're checking in. I love to go in and do like random YouTube search to see other people that are doing things in my niche. That's how I got this structure for my podcast. Like, small creative break here and there. Maybe you're deep in a writing project, but you still keep a sketchbook for those random creative impulses. See, for my parents, my multi gifted parents, this one's for you. You're not just mom and dad, but you're a whole human with interests and dreams. This is your permission slip and your plate to be able to create those things that you put off. Your children will see you working and see you creating, and they're just like, oh, and maybe you might inspire them to do things like, if you are a songwriter and you want to play guitar and you want to play it, like make some time, make 30 minutes for you to have this creative snack to really fuel yourself. For couples, when you're both multi passionate people, coordinate your deep dive session so you can support each other. Maybe when you're in intense work mode, you focus on your creative projects and then you switch. Okay. And for my, non multi gifted people who are in relationships, talk about like have those deep conversations with your partner. Just like, hey, I'm really thinking about this. I'm not looking for critique or feedback. I just need to vent and get this out. And then maybe we can just play some music and I can work on this and you can work on your stuff. And maybe your partner isn't a creative. They just want to watch TV. That's fine. Sometimes just being in the same space with someone you love and care about is enough to really just give you the support you want. For my goal setters, if you are multi gifted, that brain of yours is probably generating 17 businesses as we talk. Business ideas that you should just write down, but don't chase them all today. I have a notebook that do I have it near me? No, but I have a notebook that I started when I went to the Canva conference, which is just my creative dump. I have about 7 projects in my head, of which none have seen the light of day, but I know at some point I will get to them. Remember, you can build multiple streams of income without working multiple full-time jobs simultaneously. So here is a weekly plate check-in that you all can take from this, apply to your Q3 and Q4 Sunday planning. What is the main course on your plate this week? What is your main dish for the week? What are the side dishes? What are you putting in the fridge for later? Are you meal prepping? Are you mental health prepping? Like, I'm a person who has to look in my week ahead to really know how much energy I can give each day for certain things. Wednesday adjustment. Honestly, check in. Is this plate serving you? What needs to come off and what do you need to add back on? This is for yourself, not for like work or other things. Like, Wednesday, do I need to go for another walk this week? Do I need to squeeze in another creative date or creative lunch or something? And then Friday, How did your energy feel this week? What nourished you? What drained you? What do you want to adjust for next week? This is your plate. This is your mental health meal plan. You can do with it what you want. Just make sure you are not leaving the plate empty for other motherfuckers to come in and put shit on your plate. That's how burnout happens. That's how you drop the plate. That's how your plate becomes smaller and you do not grow. You're welcome. And for my multi-gifted people, ask yourself, do I honor my current focus or did I get distracted by shiny new projects? And I feel like this episode was inspired also by this lady on TikTok. And she was saying, I told my husband I wanted a new hobby and he sent me this and he went around the house and he had like it was like a back scratcher, but he was using it to tap on things. And she took up seating. She took up books. She took up painting. She took up, anything that had to do with like a chainsaw and wood. She took up crafting. Like, ma'am had enough hobbies to open up Hobby Lobby. And he just called her out on it. But he wasn't saying she couldn't do it, but she had all these other hobbies that she wasn't working on. I get it, sis. Listen, all these books behind me, they all equate to various hobbies that I have either paused or I just stopped or I'm coming back to or I'm about to start. So it's fine. It is fine. So key takeaway, your plate is yours to design, okay? Not your bosses, not your families, not your spouses, no one else's but your plate. It is yours. This week's challenge, do the plate audit. Remove some things, re-add some things, rebalance some things. Find out what season you're in your life, what needs to be on your plate, what can go back in the fridge, what can you put in the freezer. You know, Black people love a freezer. This isn't a one and done thing though. You'll be adjusting your plate for the rest of your life. And that's exactly how it should be. You know, we find new things. Like for me as a vegan, like I find new stuff and then I hyperfixate on it. Kimchi right now, baby, I can eat kimchi every day. Now in 3 months, I might not want kimchi ever again. With TJ, he loves pho. Pho. Thank you. I said pho. He loves pho. I hate pho, but I'm hoping that someday he will be tired of eating it. But as of now, you know, he always likes his pho. But what's cooking next? I don't know. Next episode is up in the air. I know I want to revisit the spiritual episode because that got a lot of views. But I want to hear from you all. If you made it to the end of this episode, what are some other topics that you would like for me to discuss? I'm always here to help you throughout your mental health journey, just to figure out like some other things that may be blocking you from living your best life. This was a pretty light episode. I am proud. But I hope and pray that you took something from this episode that will help you adjust your plate, make more time and energy for you to live your purpose and find your voice and find your truth, okay? Be healthy, be safe. Until next time, keep adjusting. Bye-bye. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. I hope you take something away to help you make the adjustments you need. Before you go, please take a quick second to share this with someone you care about. And if you can, please leave a 5-star rating and review on whatever platform you're listening to this on. For more information about adjusting or to inquire about being a guest, head over to adjustingpod.com. Until next time.